So what's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about the 2018 counterfeit Chibsons. Now, I don't recommend going and buying a Chibson. It is a cool experience if you're not planning on selling them because that is illegal. Even though that I support a single cut model guitars from different companies or my own model that I've done myself, it still is a copy, but I'm not counterfeiting a name. It's just a cheaper brand. But today we're going to be talking about what to look for, because they're getting just a little bit smarter on fooling somebody. Now, I don't have a Chibson, but I did take some pictures from Dave in Texas YouTube channel and some other sources that I have on some Chibson guitars, and I'm going to be putting them over the screen as I talk. The first of all, the flame maple veneer that they're putting on the guitars, they're actually really amazing. They actually have like a 3D look to them. They actually look real. They're not fake looking. They look better than Epiphone. So it's kind of crazy. Then you want to go to the back of the guitar, and the Chibsons have now a one-piece body and neck. So that's another thing that they're getting smart on, and they're spending a little bit more money on, because we all know two-piece backs, three-piece backs is just chunks of wood that they have. It's cheaper to do it that way. And they're using, mahogany necks, no scarf joint. It's all one piece of wood now. They're getting the angle right on the headstock. It's another scary part. And the knob placements and stuff, they're getting pretty darn close with them. So that's another thing to look for. And the next thing that I'm going to be talking about is the logo. They are sending these guitars to the USA, and this is how they're getting through custom. I'm not sure about the rosewood deal, but I know how they're getting through custom with the counterfeit logo. They're using some kind of like egg paint or plasti dip for the headstock, and you can peel it off with your finger and it doesn't harm the headstock. So it's some kind of water-based paint or something, and it makes it look like they just painted over the headstock with black paint. As you can see, you can peel it off. And another thing that they're doing is actually putting a regular truss rod cover on it, and then they're putting the Les Paul standard or custom truss rod cover in the bag that comes with the cheap cord and the Allen wrench, or whatever it comes with in the bag, little baggie. Another thing that I want to talk about is the truss rod. Okay, this is where it gets tricky, because usually if you're at a pawn shop, if you're at a guitar store, a used guitar store or something, you pop the truss rod cover off a Les Paul copy, and if it has an Allen key truss rod, that lets you know that it's either an Epiphone or a counterfeit guitar. If it says Gibson that has an Allen key head, it is a counterfeit guitar. But here's what they're doing. They're actually using the nut like Gibson does. I don't know if this company in China is just a little bit smarter and they're doing this, but always pop the truss rod cover if you're not sure about a Gibson, because 99% out of the time it'll have a Allen head truss rod. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Let's talk about the bridge post. Now, they're still coming with the flat screwdriver bridge post, but some of them are actually coming with the correct Gibson studs. They don't have anything, they're just the little studs. And that's another thing you got to watch out for if you don't have a trained eye on all of this. So let's say you come across a Gibson guitar and it has the Made in USA, the serial number comes out right, it has the nut for the truss rod adjustment, it has the post like the Gibsons, and everything is correct, and you feel that it's a Gibson Les Paul, and you got amazing deal on it, like they want real cheap price for it, it's a deal breaker. What you want to do is flip over the guitar and open the control cavities, because that's one thing that the Chinese will lack on, is the pots and the switch. They usually have a box switch and mini pots. That's one thing they haven't got smart enough to do yet, because Epiphone used to be that way. They used to use the little mini pots in the box switch. So I don't know if these are parts from the Epiphone factory that they're using, because sometimes you can catch a Chibson, with Epiphone pickups. And that's one thing that's one thing that Chibsons will always lack, is the electronics. So that's the things to look out for when you're buying a Gibson if you're not sure about it. Now, if you're wanting to buy a Chibson, and somebody's trying to sell it as a real Gibson, what you want to do is correct them on it. And if you want to buy it, you could probably get it cheaper, because there's no reason that Chibsons, they don't hold any kind of value. They don't hold anything special, because honestly, they're not really worth anything. I wouldn't give no more than $150 for one. It's the same thing with these lawsuit era guitars. People get these Les Paul style guitars, and they don't even have the lawsuit, don't even have the open book headstock, and they're calling it lawsuit era guitar, and they're selling them for $400 or $500. I have a trained eye, and I'm trained on these guitars, and I don't fall into, their crap, so I don't pay that much for them. I correct them on it, show them proof, and I give them the history about the lawsuit guitars. If you guys ever want to hear the history on lawsuit guitars, I can, make a long video on it to explain what really happened and who actually owns the lawsuit guitars and what actually is a lawsuit guitar, because it's basically not this. This is not a lawsuit guitar. If this was made in the 70s just like this is not a lawsuit guitar. But I hope this helped you. I want it to be, a guide to help you too. So if you're out there at pawn shops, because I'm a pawn shop shopper, and if you're out there and you find a Gibson for a really good deal, and you run across these things, these are the things to look for, because the Chinese are getting a little smarter. Like I said, I don't have a problem with Chibsons. It's an awesome experience to order them. But I'm all about, I'm not all into faking a Gibson. I'm all about having my own headstock, like this, It's got my name on it and stuff. But I think like Harley Benton, they sell the guitar kits and everything, but I think where it's at, I think what people really want, and if somebody's watching this and they have connections, here's what people really want. If Harley Benton and the Fretwire and Solo Music Gear can just make a Les Paul body and headstock, or leave the headstock blank where you can trim it out yourself, have options, and just sell it for a decent price with no electronics or anything, I think they would make a killing. Because I see a lot of just bodies that people put together and claim that they're custom built, but really it's a Fretwire kit, and they charge like $200 or $300, which doesn't make sense, because it has like a 3-piece back and a scarf joint, which I like scarf joints because I think they are tougher, but they are pretty much, you can tell it's a a do-it-yourself kit, and they sell it for more. I don't think that's what we need to do, because I think where it's at is just they want the body already finished for them. That's what I'm getting at. They want the guitar already finished for them. So have options like flame maple top, quilted maple top, like veneers that are really good and move with 3D. They want stuff that's already done for them, but they just want to put their choice of hardware in it. So, and sell it for like $150. Or 180, because you don't need to, because these guitar kits are going up in price, and it's ridiculous, because I can buy a complete guitar for $150, $180, and it's crazy. It's another thing with the J trousers or whatever, I don't pronounce the name right. People are asking $400 to $500 for these guitars. And a lot of them are made in the same factory as the Oscar Smiths by Washburn. It's the same thing. So you're getting the same quality, and you can buy those for $175, $180 online. So watch what you're buying, do your research, because in another video I named several factories that were in together, and they come out of the same factory, and they sold for different prices. So I love Les Paul body styles. I love Epiphone guitars. I have a few Epiphone guitars. It's the body shape to me what I like. I don't like the name. If it plays good and don't have high frets and stuff right out of the box, I'm impressed. So the future guitars that I like to have on this channel is Harley Benton, Sawtooth guitar, and then there's the two, main guitars that come mid-range, that come with a good bridge, because this is a Goto bridge on this guitar, and it ain't that stupid retaining wire bridge. It comes with a good nut, and it comes full-size pots and everything like that. So that's what I'm looking to get on this channel, because my goal is to show you don't need a high-end Gibson, because people's like, well, as many as, you know, of these copies that you bought for $180, you could have saved all that money up and bought you a high-end Epiphone. But here's the thing with an Epiphone. I compared quality with the Oscar Schmidt and the Epiphone, and I think the Epiphone should be the same price as the Oscar Schmidt because it's the same quality, and you're paying $600 for a Epiphone, and you're going to upgrade it, and by the time you're done, you're going to have $800-900. Nobody really likes an Epiphone anyway. So I look at it, you know, I get a cheaper guitar and I upgrade it, and I'm in like $300-400. Just depends what I buy, because I'm not into the Seymour Duncan thing, or I don't buy those really expensive high-end parts. This is not what this channel is about. This channel is about showing you budget gear and making stuff sound good. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it kind of shed some light on what to look for when you're buying these kind of guitars. And if you have a trained eye, you can figure them out pretty quick if you really study the guitar and study the things that they do a little different, because the knob placement on a Chibson is going to be just a little bit off, but everything else is pretty darn close. So if you haven't checked out Dave, I think it's like Dave's or Dave in Texas, he has a whole series on that right now about the Chibson. So I just gathered pictures from his channel and, like I said, other sources to make a little video. So if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. And I'm Ronald Leggett Jr. Keep on rocking.